Welcome to the live broadcast today. I'm delighted to have you. This is the 12th day of October, Thursday, 12th of October 2023. And here I am again to discuss and to open your minds to some basic things that we need to remind you of some stuff. And of course, open your minds to some stuff you need to know. I want to thank you all for joining, those of you who have been dedicated in the cause of freedom and always standing on the path of truth. Thank you for joining. This is 1 minute past 5 p.m. Biafra time, and we are on time today. We came exactly 5 p.m. Biafra time today. I want to thank you all for joining. This is Biafra Global Network. My name is Glitchy Ambrose, and as usual, to preach the sound gospel of truth, undiluted truth. That is what I have come to do. And of course, before I begin speaking, before I begin telling you the things I need to tell you and to open up some facts to you, I'm going to remind you of what is happening all over the globe, the circumstances, the situation. Today, Israel is at war. Ukraine war has been on for a long time. Russians bombarding the land of Ukraine and fighting to, I don't know whether to take over the land of Ukraine. Yes, to defeat Ukraine and take over, because their target is Kyiv, so to take over their land. Everywhere people are struggling to, and we have come to understand that every war that is being fought basically is because of land, because of land. Israel war today, it's all about land space, and all of that. And Gaza today is being leveled because some terrorists decided to attack Israel. We call them terrorists because you don't go and begin to kill people unnecessarily. That is terrorism. You might have your differences, you might have your issues on land, disputes and all of that. Go the normal way, discuss it. No matter how long it will take, it doesn't warrant taking anybody's life for it. It doesn't warrant taking anybody's life for it. Go dispute, fight it, on the level of law, legally. Fight it and try to get it. Go to the international court, lobby around the nations of the world, and discuss with Israel with a level of understanding. But coming to the point of going to attack people who are celebrating their holidays on Saturday, killing them, and of course their Shabbat, resting day, and you go there, kill over 200 and something people, you take old and children into exile, or you take them, you kidnap them, and you kill. It was terrible. It was terrible. And so we don't support war. We can never support war because we know that most of the things we fight over are things we can easily resolve. But we know that as much as it is also in the context of Nigeria today, our land is being controlled. The same issue of land, because on the land you have resources, and people want to control people to control their resources, and that is what you are seeing when it comes to Biafra. And we cannot allow ourselves to continually be under the control of the British by proxy, or using Nigeria as proxy. We cannot allow ourselves to continue to be in that. And all we need to do is, we have tried lots of strategies. We have utilized, several kinds of force approach to it, where we still have people within us who go to sabotage the whole thing. But we know that there are very key and principal processes or activities or style or approach to everything. And before you know it, you are going to have the right thing. You're going to have the result. And that is what we have as a solution. We have a very concrete and genuine solution that will help us get freedom. Not with the norm, not the usual way, but tactically, based on the fact that the world has moved on, and you have to be tactical in reading the times and seasons and understanding how to apply tactics and create ideas that will help you. Because when you do all of this, you're going to find yourself being in a better position, not losing lives, saving more lives, at the same time getting results. And for the purpose, before I continue this broadcast today, I'm going to be, I'm going to be talking, and I'm going to be playing the audio of Mazen Namdekano. the reason why I play this audio is because it sums up every of the doctrine and the messages of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And there's no way I would want to broadcast from now henceforth without playing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message as the beginner for the program. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to play it. I think it's going to take about 5 minutes or so. I'll play the first 5 minutes, and then I will now come basically discussing and the network signal, the network signal, the network signal, the network signal. So basically, we have been discussing and talking. Keep opening up facts, opening your minds to the things you need to know and the understanding you need to have. But before we go on today, let me bring the gospel from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on the issue Biafra.
Who don't understand our mission unless they are for mortals to understand what we have come to do. They have to align their will with that of heaven. That is why, and in everything that we hold very dear, them the good of the Most High to also ensure that Biafra is restored. That is a very simple mission. It's not complicated. Go and bring Biafra. They never said go and become a freedom fighter. They never said go and be conducting rally every year. It never said go and become popular or famous. They never said we should come to do what others have done. Okike said, pave the way. I have paved the way. I will command all the angels of heaven to make sure that IPOB is given enough protection to ensure that this my kingdom comes as it is here in heaven. That is our mission. That is our commission. That is our instruction, and we must execute it. We are truthful people. We are honest. We are sincere. We don't prevaricate. We don't retreat. We don't surrender as our enemies have just recently discovered. They can keep lying. I told the zoo, and I'm a if you're a journalist and you're worth your soul, because I did not give them money, they don't want to write the truth. You will eventually speak the truth. We will force journalism in the zoo to change. To be truthful and bold, to speak the truth. The same way, by the time we finish, no idiot can open his or her mouth and say from Niger Delta, because the name doesn't exist. We are winning on that one already. People are coming to their senses now. No more Niger Delta. People are telling us where they come from. That is better. By the time we finish with the vagabonds called journalists in the zoo, they will begin to report the truth. They will begin to hold office holders to account. They will become more incisive. They will become more investigative. They will become more assertive. They will push for the truth. The reason why people are suffering is because there is no truth. People believe in lies. And when you're lying, you're doing so brazenly. Radio Biafra will drive away all these news. If you're an IPOB and you're used to lying, you're an IPOB, you don't know what you're in Atwasi. Your days are numbered. I hate liars. I can't stand them. I'm going to YouTube. I cannot stand them. Go and search your conscience. You have to be of good conduct that you could get them. Everything in life works in perfect alignment with the will of nature. You cannot be a liar and a thief and a kidnapper and you want Biafra to come. You are dreaming. And I don't know. If you're a liar, you're a thief, you're a kidnapper, you are somebody working without Fulani as a saboteur and informant. You want Biafra to come. You are making you're a hypocrite. And Chuku Ukike Abiyama can never ever listen to hypocrites. That's something you need to know. These are the things you need to bear in mind. These are the things you need to be conscious of. If you are of bad conduct, go and change. For you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining. Amaka, good to have you. Go the reggae too. Thank you. I appreciate you. Ego, good to have you also. Thank you so much. As always, you guys are always here, and we're doing it together. Very importantly, we need to reminisce over some information, basically, especially because of the situation we have found ourselves. And I don't know whether you have sat down to reason and think, why is it that in spite of the fact that the Nigeria contraption understands the formidability of IPOB and the Biafra people, the resilience of Biafra people, they could still dare to pick up Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and at the same time keep him up to 2 years, not minding the calls from both the elders, the so-called elders, from both the so-called United Nations report and all of that, asking that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu be released. Why? Ask yourself that question. Why? Anytime you see a particular action being taken by a particular government, including a tyrannical government, you would understand that that is influenced by what the people do about the information that's available and at the same time about the situation itself. For instance, the Iranian government, that's the nation of Iran, last year, the morality police killed Hassani, that lady that was killed because she wasn't putting her hijab properly, and she was beaten until she died. She died after some days in hospital because she was unconscious from beating and brutality. Now, the revolution that was about to sweep Iran began by the women coming all out, and before you know it, so many people also were killed along the line, thousands were jailed, and so many things happened. But the decision, if you, in spite of the fact that the Iranian government is strictly, even if it is Islamic, they are very totalitarian in nature and using religion as a basis. They always control people using the basis of religion and all of that. They were still able to try to persuade the people to stop. Because when people rise up, knowing what they know, standing up in defense of their rights, not minding what and what happens to them, you would always discover that even the worst kind of government will respond. Now, let me tell you this. Did you know that if the Lekki, protest had not been, tribalized and politicized, that stuff would have gone far? Did you know that in spite of the killings of the people in Lekki, in fact, that killings of the people at that Lekki toll gate was supposed to cause a widespread breakdown of law and order. And it was already going in that direction until Tinubu and Co. began to introduce the narrative of tribe. The Igbos have come to destroy Lagos. The Igbos, and of course, when they say the Igbos, they mean everyone from Biafra territory. That became the narrative. And of course, when anything goes dangerously in line with, into the path of tribal sentiments, it is very difficult to stop that kind of, when it begins to lead to bloodshed, it is very, very difficult to stop it. And so somehow the Mazen Amdekano tried to make sure that the Igbos hands off. In fact, he stopped talking about it because he didn't want it to spread and become a tribal matter where there will be killings, where in fact, it will become very deadly. We were smart enough, he was smart enough to advise and make sure that the people, withdrew from actions. Because, remember during that period when we were at the Lekki Gate, toll gate, I was there also. My organization was also taking care of people, providing food and all of that, and drinks. And when that killing happened, when we had to, lots of people dead, and Mazen Amdekano gave that instruction: Igbos, go back, don't get involved, because it was now becoming a blackmail on him that he was inciting destruction of a particular region in the contraption. And that would have been very terrible because the international community would come against it and all of that, come against the people. So he was able to advise us to stop, and everybody went back. And that was how that issue died. That was how that protest, the most potent weapon, as at that time, it would have been the most potent weapon in the history of the zoo. But it was quashed, it was disrupted, and because of the sentiments. Now, whenever such kinds of sentiments come in, the people that are being used to propagate such kinds of sentiments are still the people. The people are the people who execute those kinds of sentiments against themselves. So you see, when politicians compose a particular narrative, they use the people to propagate or carry out that narrative. But when the people decide to stand for the truth and refuse to allow themselves to be sentimentally cajoled by politicians or criminals, you discover that the people will always have control of their territory. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is in context of Biafra now. If you decide to stand for the truth right now and decide to look at the narrative going on, how the so-called Biafra agitators, those who claim to be agitators, how they are killing, fighting people, how they are destroying ESN, how they are causing division and destruction, building their own camps and building their own the particular word I'm looking for, their own coven. Let me use the word coven. If you in line with what Masnu preached or has been preaching, because his gospel is still consistently new and ever fresh. So it, he keeps preaching it, well, it's still on. If you decide today and say we want to continue in the narrative of Mazen Amdekano, now we have to let you guys know something. Desperate, the desperation is so much around just because some group of people want to control Biafra, to control the people. That is what they want to achieve, not because they are so desperate to get Biafra for the people to live a good life. No, they are too desperate. They are so desperate to get Biafra because they want to get it from the hands of the colonial masters and be the ones to control it based on their criminal and selfish ends. Now, let me tell you this. Whether you believe it or not, whether you accept it or not, Biafra is Chukwu Okike's project. So you being so desperate as a people, and thinking that if you don't support one particular person you have been used to, even if they are criminal, you might lose Biafra. You are just going to put yourself in worse trouble, because Chukwu Okike himself will be angry with you and you will not get it. See, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said it critically. We cannot get Biafra with lies. So we can dance around, circumnavigate, carry out lots of activities, carry out and do lots of those nonsense you call water and all of this stuff. You will never get Biafra if you patronize the narrative of lies. It's not possible. So the narrative here is, as the people, if you had listened to that message I played of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he said something critical. He said the reason why Chukwu Okike has not destroyed us Biafrans is because most of us are actually worshiping idols ignorantly. And of course, he was referring to the British Christ they brought, the British kind of Christ. Not talking about the real Christ himself. Christ Yehoshua. He was talking about the British Christ, which the British named Jesus and all of that. That doesn't mean that the word Jesus might be corrupted when you use it in express, because in Igbo language we call Jesus Jesus. So that's the Igbo language, and we know whom we are referring. We're not referring. I'm not referring to the British God, Zeus or whatever they call that one, or the Greek God. No, I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to the Christ. So if I use the name Jesus, I actually know whom I'm referring. I'm referring to Yeshua, in that context. So if the name for Yeshua in English becomes Jesus, even if the British meant it to be their idol, to me personally, it's not the idol I'm referring. So whenever I say Jesus or I say Yeshua, I'm talking about the God, the Yeshua Mashiach. I'm talking about, Yahweh Yeshua, the one that came and died and shed his blood on the cross of Calvary. Now listen, Chukwu Okike is the one in charge of Biafra project. Biafra project is not your project. Biafra project is not my project, but it belongs to us because Chukwu Okike has mandated us to carry it out in the narrative of truth. But that project is strictly going to be controlled by him, and that is why the narrative of truth presides or dominates the process or the procedure to this. So which means that if I am going to talk about Biafra, I am first going to look at God, who is in charge of it, Chukwu Okike, who is in charge of it. So it doesn't matter who is presiding over it or who is not presiding over it. It doesn't matter who is talking about it and who is not talking about it. Once you are of lies, Chukwu Okike deals with you in that regard. But once you are on the path of truth, you will get it. So even if you begin to get lots of people coming in the narrative of lies and trying to tell lies to take control of Biafra project, you are the one to determine what you believe. That was why Joshua told the children of Israel, choose ye this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That means make a decision who takes you to the promised land. Make a decision whom you want to take over or be in control of your destiny. Biafra project is the destiny of the people of Biafra. Now, interestingly, we were born into this issue of slavery. And we were born to understand that there is a particular fight that have gone to redeem ourselves, but we couldn't get it. That was in 1976, 1960, 67, sorry, not 76, 67, 68, 69, and 70, when the war was fought. And some of us were not alive then. We were not born then. I was not born then. Some of you were not born then. Some were born then. Some experienced it. In fact, some of you who were there, and people who were there when Nigeria when the name Nigeria was created and all of that, most of them are dead. So most of us have been born we are born under slavery. So we don't really look at things critically and look at the details and the nitty-gritties of all of this stuff. We just know that we were born and we just heard the name Nigeria. We went to school and they begin to, teach us national anthem, national pledge. We began to recite the issues of Nigeria. They told you Nigeria is your country, and we believed that, and we went on. That is what Western education has done. It has corrupted and bastardized our mindset, so that we begin to believe things that are that negates our freedom, things that are contrary to whom we are, and all of that. And because even in our households, our parents were not able to pass on this narrative like the Jews did. Now, let me tell you the secrets of the Jews, why the Jewish nation is so strong today. Even when they were in slavery, they passed on that was why God told them that this word of truth will not depart from your heart, from your mouth, and from your heart, but you shall meditate on it day and night. And David was giving those narrative, and of course Jeremiah and other people. And he told, in fact, those days they write these things and put on their chest. I'll give you some narrative later, and in another broadcast, about this particular notion, how the Jews were able to indoctrinate their children in believing in their culture, their tradition, and in believing in whom they are. This was how they were able to. That is why an average Jew cannot be a saboteur. It's very difficult. An average Jew cannot be a saboteur. You know why? They prefer to die. Now look at the reserves that have been called, hundreds of thousands of reserves. They left their regular jobs. Now, did you know this? In the Jewish nation, once you finish your secondary school and you get into university, and once you finish your university, whether you are, no matter who you are, you must serve in the army for 3 years. That is the Jewish law. You will work as a military officer. You will be paid salary in the army, not NYSC, all this nonsense. Regular, you will be trained as a real army. Every Jewish person is a potential military person. They get their weapons, they have their guns, they carry out actions, and they fight the war. They fight the war when it comes. In the Jewish system, once you are through with school, university, you go straight to serve the army for 3 years, and then you now serve the nation for another 3 years or so, maybe in anywhere, in any other company. You just work in a particular company for the nation. Before now, you can now decide whether you want to continue working in the country, or you decide to travel abroad or go somewhere else to work. But it is compulsory as a Jew that you must serve the military for 3 years. And after serving the military for 3 years, you will serve, I think 3 years, yes, not 2 years, 3 years, I think so. Yeah, I remember 3 years. Now, after that, you will still go for another 3 years of serving in the country. You cannot travel out. You must serve in. So for 6 years of your life after school, it is service to the nation of Israel. That is how they impact their people traditionally, culturally, and the values of their ethics and their operations, their modus of living, their modus vivendi. It's called modus vivendi. That's way of life. Modus operandi, way of, method of operation. That means how you operate in the notion of your way of life. Ego says, once the culture and tradition of the people are not continually taught, such people lose their identity. That is what happened to our people. You see, when the British came into the territory, our people were struggling for survival, that they were not passing on the details of whom we are to the people. It happened both it is even in the Yoruba culture, somehow they still try to, but it is just like, it is seen as just a cultural thing. It is not passed on as value. Now, there's one thing to teach the culture and tradition of your people. It is another thing to pass it on as a value that should not be taken for granted. It is one thing to pass it on as a cultural practice and notion and knowledge. It is another thing to pass it on as a value, as a treasure. The Israelis pass their values on their people as treasure. They see it as treasure. That was why Jesus said that where your treasure is, your mind will be. That is why they said they should put this thing, don't lean on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. So there was this notion and this principle of teaching these things, these cultural values, as treasure or as value, as precious or more precious than gold. That is why you see them sing songs like, Lord, you are more precious than gold, you are beautiful than silver. You'll see descriptions that David is giving, analogy of God and all of that. And I mean, the description of God in scripture tells you, because the scripture itself reveals their notion about God, and the notion they have about God is an express information or a express transfer of how they cherish their. Now, let me tell you something. There's no difference between Yeshua or Elohim and their culture. In fact, when they preach their culture, they actually translate it to be Elohim himself. In fact, their culture is another way of teaching Elohim. Anytime you see an average Jew talk about their culture, they're actually talking about God himself. That is why you see that even this, the Torah, and the script that actually had the information. Those days they had scripts, they wrote on ink and all of that script, the scripts and all of that. Those things were you don't joke, just like these days people carry Bible and anyhow. They reveal those things. You don't play with it. In fact, when you the scripts are kept, the Levites had an exceptional way of preserving these things, so that the way they handle it proves how they cherish it. Meditate on it day and night and say, pass them to your unborn generations. Yes, there was this practice of transferring, and whenever they are transferring this information, it's like they are transferring. That is where we missed it. We only just tell the people what we do. And when you want to break cola, you call chukokike, you pour the wine on the ground and you eat the cola. It's a traditional thing, knowledge of tradition. It was not a knowledge of modus vivendi, that means way of life, not be taken for granted. That is why we were not able to preserve the nature of transparency, the nature of our approach to things, and the nature serving the true God through the rituals and the activities we carried on those days. Rather, they began to introduce our, because being corrupted and things were not done appropriately. So many times is in our midst today. And if you have a system full of sabotage and saboteurs, you must change tactics. Now remember, we have used a tactics for a while that has prompted it has prompted the saboteurs to thrive in the midst of the whole thing. Now let me tell you something. Don't you know, I want you guys to reason. When we are talking like this, please reason. Now, don't you observe that all the strategies being used to seek for our freedom seem to be favoring saboteurs? They seem to be making money out of it. Ask yourself the question, why? How come we have a system that anytime we take an approach to try to free ourselves, saboteurs keep gaining from it? How come? Ask yourself this question. Because it is a very dangerous thing, I tell you, for people to keep doing some stuff, keep doing it over and over, and not asking questions. Why are we not winning? Why are things not changing? Why are we not having a particular, improvement? Why do things go? The more we get closer to our freedom, the farther we are from the freedom. Why? Ask yourself this question. Suddenly, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu sets up ESN. And we thought that we are already close to our freedom, and suddenly we are dragged 100 feet behind. We are dragged behind, so many steps behind. Why? Ask yourself this question. One, you should understand that we have embedded or imbibed the culture of successfully patting and romancing saboteurs. We seem to be so daft that we seem to have a way of sustaining and helping sustain sabotage. In fact, once there is a serious action that will be carried out against sabotage, we seem to be too, in quote, compassionate that sometimes we feel that, hey, let's just leave these people, let's just leave it. And when there is an action against sabotage, the people cry foul. In fact, the people now begin to create blackmail in the midst of the whole thing. For instance, when Uche Mefo began his sabotage against what Mazen Abikano was doing, and Mazen Abikano suspended him, or and or expelled him and all of that. I don't know whether I think yes, he was removed from the position and he decided to leave. Now, we still have Biafrans who were taken for granted what Uche Mefo had done. Now, for Mazen Amdekano to go an extra mile to suspend somebody or to expel somebody, you must know that that person must have committed. Mazen Amdekano is somebody who is so accommodating. That is why he accommodated people like Chinan Sanworu, Chike Doziem, all these criminals. He accommodated them because he felt that with time, the system will rub off on them and they will be able to understand what they are doing. But he didn't take into cognizance that he needed to set up a structure that will manage them. He gave them so much powers, in spite of the fact that he gave them, he set up the DOS as a structure. The DOS was not having that concrete power to make sure that one person cannot take control of the whole affairs. So that looseness and that accommodating mindset that Mazen Amdekano had to bring people just come in and then give them positions without giving a particular structural definition of that, of the whole thing, and making sure that the people cannot have a control personally or individually to have a control over their affairs. Rather, if they want to take a particular action, it must rest on everybody's decision. If that had been done in a very firm way, just like we stood under our accountability group and we stood against those people who wanted to begin to impose their will, and we said, no, it is a collective thing. In fact, when they call me, when we have private meetings, they call me privately and said, I said, no, we can't take decisions here. We must go back to the group. And that was what they hated. Every time I will tell them, let's go back to the group. It is the decision of the group that determines this. And that was what they didn't like. In fact, the more I said it, the more they were building hatred for me. And of course, as a true person, as a genuine person, you must stand for what you believe that is right. Come rain, come shine. If you don't do that, you are going to still you will still get things destroyed in the end because things will not work. Rather, you will promote some group of people, and then that's our lifestyle that is natural of us would not be executed because you would just kill the thing in a particular fashion. Because definitely, when you bring in something foreign into a system that is not used to it, even when people begin to get used to that particular foreign thing, they abuse it because it is not their style. That is why when they brought in they brought in corruption, they brought in election corruption in you remember the 1959 election, the first election to elect people in the Nigeria system. The British conducted that election and they corrupted the whole process, brought in corruption. They inflated the census of the North, and the South was less. They inflated the numbers of the people, telling you that so number of people are living in the North more than those who are in the South, just to create an imbalance so that the North would have more votes. And that corruption actually destroyed the whole psyche of the people. And our people now saw that they can actually work on this corruption to their favor. So when you introduce a foreign matter into a system, when the people take up that foreign matter, they especially when it is a negative thing, when the people decide to embrace it, it destroys them. It destroys them because they will go extra mile to do worse things with those information. Thank you so much, Ego. They always fight the truth because they are immune to the truth. And that's the truth. They are immune to the truth. Now, Mazen Amdekano had this accommodating spirit and he brought everybody together. Now, it has cost us dearly to the point where Mazen Amdekano is in the dungeon of the DSS. Because we kept thinking we could have the people who are saboteurs, the criminals, change their mind. We kept thinking that we can have things change. They should reason. We think that they reason like us. We always believe that things will change. They will change their mind. We treated sabotage with kid gloves. And so it became so terrible But how I wish that every one of us now will sit up and say to ourselves, we shall not take for granted anything that has to do with sabotage from today. And you begin that with those people who are claiming to be fighting for freedom for you on your behalf. You begin with them. Ask them for records, ask them to be transparent, ask them to give account of everything they are doing. Ask them to do that. Unless we begin to call things the way they are, unless we begin to put things in perspective, we are going to continue to go down and lose the opportunity to be free. How old are you now? You think you're going to be this way forever? You can remember about 10 years ago, you can remember just 10 years ago. Just 10 years ago, you can remember how young you were. Now look at how, adding this to your age, you can imagine how you are getting older. You can imagine that you are, every moment that passes is reducing your lifespan. You are getting closer to your grave. So, which means that the closer we are getting to our grave, the less opportunity we have to fight for our freedom and get it. And the less opportunity we have to have gotten the freedom and have enough time to enjoy it. So, anytime we lose by allowing ourselves to patronize evil, we are losing the opportunity to enjoy the moments of freedom if the freedom comes. Because the freedom itself will not come in lies, and so we will continue to be in that serious situation. But let's say suddenly now we patronize good and begin to get our freedom, and then we now get our freedom. By then we would have lost enough time that we would have enjoyed in our freedom. The things we would have gotten earlier, we will not get them. And these people who claim to be fighting for freedom for you, the only way to identify their criminality is to see the desperation in their actions. Why would anybody claim and want their face to be on the currency desperately? What desperate move is that? Why would anybody say they would patronize demons to get you freedom? Desperate actions, desperate words. Why would anybody refuse to give you account and in fact tell you that they cannot talk to you, don't have the right to call them, you cannot call them unless you begin to contribute money? Why would anybody base your reaction and your activities with them or your discussion with them or your ability to liaise with them or have an interaction with them based on your contributions financially when they don't even know your pocket, when they don't even know whether you have the resources? Why would anybody begin to destroy the ESN that Mazin Namdekan have set, begin to take some of them, add them to their own group, and begin to give them monies, make them feel good inside, and make them feel that when they were in ESN, they were not getting it good. Now they're getting it good with them. They give them everything. Why? Why would anybody set any other people, any other camp that is not in their camp, that is not in support of them? Why would they set them up and give them away to the Nigeria contraption agents to go attack them and destroy them? Why would anybody do that to Oji, innocent Oji, even if they, because they are not agreeing, even if they are not working together? Why would anybody set Oji up so that his camp will be invaded, and then so that he will use that opportunity to promote his own man and be in control? And of course, that name that Oji was bearing as a general, he now gives it to his own man, because and now this his own man wants to come on social media to always, so that he will be fresh on your mind always, and always fresh on your mind, and you'll be thinking, oh wow, this guy. So it will now be that psychologically they replace Oji in your mind with this new guy. Why would anybody be so desperate that they don't want to work with people that are genuine and sincere? When you tell them the truth, they don't want to work with you. They want to work with anybody who is going to fall and fall into their hands and patronize their evil and their actions that are contrary to the notion and the system of Biafra. Why would anybody who is genuine come to destroy the program of Mazin Namdekan and erect their own program? Why do they want their own program to be conspicuous and drag Mazin Namdekan into the mud? Why? Why would they be so wicked that, in spite of the fact that Mazin Namdekan is in the DSS dungeon, what they should have done is to make sure that they uphold him and hold him up and keep them intact until he is out, and then if they want to do their own thing, they go to do their own thing. Why would they capitalize on the fact that Mazin to destabilize the house, fight division, and create their own side and all of that, and say they are fighting for freedom. Why? Because they are desperate too, because they see kind of being a way as a way of mind and getting you to work with them, and then to make sure that, and that is why you see them doing everything they are doing today, so that they will be able to Nigeria for themselves, and then control land, control the resources by controlling the government. All these signs and comments shows who they actually are, but the zombies refuse to see the glaring pointers. So we have to out always is for you to think in. You can't continue to be foolish. You can't continue to do things the same way and expect to get different results. It is not possible. And this is the time to begin to do things right. And let me tell you, as I began this preaching today, I started with the strength of the people, the power in the people. It is always the people. Even if you have a terrible, a very criminal and a very evil person in control of a territory, once the people rise up and say enough is enough, not minding whether they're going to die or not, you will discover that kingdom will fall. Look at what Idi Amin was doing at Uganda those days. His kingdom fell. Look at most people who tried to impose their will. Look at Hitler. His kingdom fell. Once the people say you are going down, you will go down. Although Hitler his people supported him. And most of his people too were against what he was doing. And so those ones liaised with the outside world to make sure that he was taken away. Once the people say, you just imagine now that the whole of Biafrans all over Biafra land and outside Biafra land decide to march and not minding who is going to be shot and decide to, take drastic action. You can imagine if the people had refused to come out for the election. Everybody, Biafran all over the place, whether in Biafra territory or outside Biafra territory, including in Lagos, none of them went out to vote. You can imagine what would have happened. Let's not now link it to the criminal called Simon, who was telling the people, who was claiming that he was going to stop election and he didn't. Let's just say the people decided, just like we decided to sit at home every Monday. Let's say we decided that there will be no election, and we decided we're not going to come out for election. You can imagine what would have happened when the people decide to change a process. Now, let me tell you, for these people who are desperately trying to get Biafra, or desperately trying to get Biafra, making you feel they are helping you to get Biafra so that they will control Biafra. For these people to lose their grip and to lose is for the people to decide not to patronize or support them. The only way you can stop them is to stop giving them funds. Stop giving them funds. Because every political power is enthroned and strengthened by the economic power they possess. Once they have access to an economic pattern or economic avenue of milking and taking your resources, they control you politically. And if you continue to allow them control you financially, then they will control you politically. Now look at the trace, look at everything they have been doing, look at their activities, look at how they disrupted the program of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, divided the ESN. Look at all of these stuff. These are signs to you that you don't need to support these people to continue. Because once they get, let's just assume they help you get freedom. They are not getting freedom for you to be free. They are getting freedom for them to control you under them. That is what they want to achieve. And the reason why they are doing it is because they are targeting they are imagining being in control of Biafra land and all the resources, the money, and determining what is in the constitution of Biafra and controlling the powers. Their corruption will be so high. Even if in the constitution of Biafra, there are clauses, just like you have in the Nigeria constitution, 1999 constitution. There are clauses there that if the people want to follow it genuinely, they'll follow it. But there are clauses also, I think I've forgotten the place, whether it's section 4, so where you cannot even hold them if they don't carry out those things in the constitution. The same way also, these people will come and give you fines, just like the constitution we drafted. Very sweet constitution. When this constitution is utilized, they will put a clause in it that you will discover that you will not be able to fight them when they are corrupt. and they will make sure that they suppress that constitution based on the fact that they are holding your economy and your resources. So it is high time we stood up for the truth. I want to remind you here now that the moves they are making, you see all the shenanigans. Yesterday, I tried to open your eyes to this. They are talking about, is this one being suspended, that one being suspended, opening a house in exile, opening a liaison office. Every of the groups that have come up for Biafra stuff, every of these groups that have come up to talk about Biafra seem to look at them very well. You will see that they are not sincere. Look at them very well. In fact, the one that we were trying to get to work with us then, when they called Republic of Biafra Government in Exile, they were fighting that transparent move for us to have that transparent move. Republic of Biafra Government in Exile, the one in Maryland. They were fighting it. Every time I keep telling those who, always liaise with them, because they don't want us to have a meeting together. They always want to come and tell us what they say. And I say, no, it doesn't work that way. We all need to sit together with them and discuss and make decisions. And they said, no, we know these people, they are this. No, don't tell us you know them. Don't tell us what you think they are or what they do. And of course, you saw the two of them go to Maryland the other day, and they were supposed to go there and discuss. Rather, they went there to do broadcasting. They broadcasted and came back and keep telling us that you see, these people, when the moment I watch, and there's this particular one, he will tell you, the moment I watch this, I knew these people were in. I know that Chukwokike, and they will always call Chukwokike. I knew that these people are true and they are ready for Biafra. How? Don't tell me whether anybody's ready for Biafra or not. Let's have a meeting. And I kept pressing, we need to have a meeting with the Republic of Biafra government in exile. They said they have been there when Mazin Amkano was there. Of course, we preached it. I preached it. Mazin Amkano recognized them and all of that. That's not the issue. The issue here is, are you doing the right thing? Do you want to work with the people? If you want to work with the people, why are you avoiding meetings? Why don't you want us to have meetings to discuss issues? Why don't you want us to discuss matters? Why don't you want us to discuss? They were so keen on keeping. They don't want anybody to penetrate their. They said they already have an executive. Okay. If we want to work with your executives, let's sit down and discuss how do we work to get Biafra. They are key. They are so interested. They don't want anybody to enter. They don't want anybody to penetrate. They are so secretive. And you said that is no. We don't work with such kinds of people. We want a Biafra where everybody will be open to what we are chasing. It belongs to us all. It belongs to us all. But the problem we have now is very deep-seated, because if our parents have, from time, even after the invasion of the British on Biafra soil, if our parents then have been preaching the gospel of freedom to us, if they have been discussing these things and indoctrinating us, just like the Muslims do, indoctrinate their children so that they can go and kill themselves for what they believe in. And just like the Jews also indoctrinate themselves on the issue of Yahweh, Yeshua, and the issue of Elohim. If our people have been indoctrinating us from childhood, we would have had less sabotage. In fact, it would have been very difficult to have a saboteur in our midst, and that would have made our freedom very easy. The Jewish nation got their freedom easily because they were with one voice. They had fewer or no saboteurs in their midst, less sabotage. They don't joke. If you are a saboteur, they deal with you instantly. It's death sentence for you. So they were able to fight the battle very easily because they knew how to handle sabotage. But because in our land, our people are so religiously cultural that they are not seeing they are not having a basic connection between their culture and themselves. The cultural thing is like an information. It is not like life, like life to them. When you have something like an information, And if you understand that thing as an information or as something that concerns your life, once you know that there is a particular something connected to your heart that gives your heart to, that makes your heart beat for you to live, you will cherish that thing so much. But once you see that what you have is actually, you are ignorant about how important it is, you are going to treat it with levity. All they're after is power and money, not the interest and the well-being of the people. That is it. So the message today, I'm going to be rounding off now. The message today is for you to understand that these desperate moves are not for you to be free. It's just to control your territory. But we, the people, must determine how we get our freedom. Don't be so desperate to allow criminals take over, hijack your freedom. Don't be desperate to give them the power to fight for freedom for you, because you will end up like South Sudan. South Sudan is in trouble today, and some other places also are in trouble today because they think that they can give criminals the credence to fight for freedom or to fight on their behalf. Whenever you see people fight, look at what happened in Libya. Most people were against Gaddafi, and the people began to support some of these groups, and some of these groups were coming on, but they came on. Today there's no unity government. There's no unity government. There is no unity government. The government is divided in Libya to the point where when something happens, when disaster happens, it is very difficult for even humanitarian provisions to come over, because the camp is divided. Some other group are taking in control of Benghazi, another one is in control of Tripoli. So this division, two governments in a particular place, this is what will happen to us in Biafra when we allow criminals get our freedom. Once they take it, they want to hold it, and the other criminal groups want to also fight them to hijack it. And because those groups have the ulterior motives, they will keep fighting you, and they will keep fighting within themselves, amongst themselves, and then we will become the victim, just like what is happening in Libya today. Tripoli is working under the government that the West recognizes. Benghazi is working under another government. The situation that is from here too. Good to have you join. Thank you. Now, the situation is so bad in Libya today because the system was, the people came to support criminals. The people didn't stand out to say, no, you people who have joined in ousting Gaddafi to kill Gaddafi, we're not going to support and know that you guys are not genuine based on the antecedents. Your antecedents. We know you have been killing, you have been maiming our people. For anybody to dare ESN, that person is not worthy of your support. Look at what Simon has done. Look at what Simon Epa has done. Look at what I've done. Look at what I've done. These people. Chikedozie. As they have the heart and the guts, some take this group, they take their own. Simon takes his own. Chinasa takes his own. Kanata takes his own. And everybody's taking their own from the people, from that ESN. As long as they have the guts to do that, they don't deserve you supporting them financially or otherwise. If you do, you are going to be brooding or training or brooding over the monster that will come to kill you in the end. So when you arm them and give them arms, they would help. They would help to bring you down. And how would they do that? How would they do that? Very simple. When you arm them, all they will do is they will go to the enemy. They will fight the enemy. They would want to get the freedom, and then when they want to get the territory away from the enemies. And then when they get the territory, they now use it as a control mechanism over you. So they will control you, whereas you are thinking they are helping you to get freedom. That is why we shouldn't support. We should be wise, learn from history, learn from other things happening in other places. Supporting Simon Ekpa, supporting these guys, Chinansa and Co, is like training the monster that will eat you tomorrow. If they succeed in helping you get the freedom you want to get, you would become their slaves. And that's the truth. You just have to, we must be wise. You can't have different militia groups. We must fight from one front, and that front must be under Mazen Namdekan, and not under these people who are using the name of Mazen Namdekan. They are using the name of Mazen Namdekan to fight you, to cajole you, or to deceive you. They will mention Mazen Namdekan on their posters. They will put Mazen Namdekan's face, but check their actions. It doesn't fall in line with the doctrine and the teachings of Mazen Namdekan. You must be reasonable enough to access this thing. That was why Mazen Namdekan said on that stuff, on that audio I played, he said you must investigate. You must make sure you confirm. You must confirm. You don't just follow because he said because they are calling Mazen Namdekan's name, or because they are saying Biafra, then you follow. No. Even the same kingdom that Christ came for, Satan was saying he has access to it and he's going to give it to Christ. Does that mean that if Christ has bowed down to the devil, then Christ would have been justified? No. So for the devil would preach the kingdom also to you, but you would always discover the lies within. Just like what Simon said the other time, he's going to patronize demons. Just like the many lies he has told you. He has a Biafra government house somewhere in Maryland. Today, you have not seen them function. They have not come to show you any video because you know they like showing videos. They would have shown you walk going there every day. They are not showing you. They might tomorrow now go and bring everybody together, and then everybody sits down there, and then they now just video that moment and show to you. That is not it. Let there be work every morning. Resume close. You hired that place. Did you hire it to snap pictures? You claim to have the house. You celebrated and did your jamboree. How come you could video your jamborees and all of that? You cannot video the work and activities going on in that place. Don't you people reason? You people must be smart. You are smarter than this, for God's sake. Why would you continue to allow yourself to be fooled? They said they have liaison offices everywhere. Gaddafi helped arrange, I know him very well, of course. He helped arrange the issue of South Korea, and he came, they snapped everything, snapped with Ngozi. After having a program, he saw a program that's holding in South Korea. He informed them, and they said, okay, Ngozi volunteered to go there. And they she now went there and now called some of people, sat down, to discuss and all of that. They now snap it and send to you. And you think that is it? Let us see the activity in that South Korea liaison office. Have they shown you the activities? Have you seen any activity? If they want to be true to themselves for 1 month, one good month, they should be showing you activities daily so that you can be sure and know things are happening. And what is the significance of even all those nonsense to the time we're in, the season we're in, the season of the dragon flag? There's no connection because you don't need all these liaison offices and all of this stuff. The monies you need now are supposed to be going in for the weapons. You said you have enough weapons to stop the election. If you have such kind of weapons, then what are you doing? If truly he said, according to what he said then in February, that everything have been put in place and every material is ready to stop the election in Biafra land, and if truly those materials are ready, it simply means that there is formidable force, formidable materials to stop the military from combing any territory in Biafra land. So if the military is going to Olu or Mbano to kill people, and you have actually acquired weapons that can stop election in the whole of Biafra land, then it simply means that action in only Mbano can be stopped by you. Simple, because you have all the equipment. You said you have the whole equipment to stop election in the whole of Biafra land. That means you have enough equipment. So how come you couldn't stop the military from invading only Mbano in spite of all the equipment you claim you have bought with the monies being sent to you? How come? How come you couldn't? You people should ask questions. When they come to territories, Izombe, all those places, communities to invade, all those equipments that could stop election in the whole of Biafra land cannot be deployed to stop the invasion of the military in one community. And he told you he has bought enough equipment. They were cajoling you and forcing you to contribute. You are not asking questions. Look at the videos they've been showing you. How many weapons do you see? How many people do you see on those videos? How many men do you see? Because Simon is somebody who likes to brag and like to show off. He's a showbiz person. He's a showbiz presenter on media, on social media presenter. That's what it is. He just had an opportunity to have your money, to be giving him your money. That's why he's screaming and shouting and doing as if he's doing everything, everywhere. That's why he's doing what he's doing. How many men? If he had enough men by now, Simon will make sure that thing is shown out because he wants to brag. How many of them? How many weapons? How many weapons do you see? How many? But he has acquired enough weapons. Where are they? Where are the men that will stop the election in the whole of Biafra land? Where are they? No one. But we have many men under ESN, but he chooses to pick the ones that will say yes sir to him. He and Azuka, they choose to pick the ones that will say yes sir to them. And you are not asking yourself the questions. Where are the weapons that he said everything have been put in place? The weapons have been gotten. In fact, at a particular advisory board meeting, he told us that everything is ready. He just needed about 2 RPGs or something. And the people were saying, okay, instead of getting 2, let's have 5. We need 5. Or we need 1. He was talking about 1. Imagine somebody who wants to stop election and blow down some stuff. He doesn't even know the number of weapons he needs. It is people who are on the advisory board who don't even know anything. They are just counting numbers. We need more than 1, so that every territory in Biafra land will have one. Imagine. And he said he had all the equipment. Those are the only things he needed. And money was given to him. Where are they? How many of them received it? Rather, you heard Shadow saying they were telling Shadow, bring it. They need that thing for another place to go and work. They need that thing. They share it. Once you use it, and they give it to another camp. Then before that camp gets it back, they would have been destroyed by the forces, the attacking forces. What nonsense is this? And all of you are not reasoning. You're not thinking. The military attacks is the attack Mbano. They couldn't go there to stop the military, in spite of the fact that they claim they have whole weapons that will help to stop the election in the whole of Biafra territory. So if you have weapons to stop election in the whole of Biafra territory, how come you don't have weapons to stop the activities in one part of just one community? Lies upon lies. Lies upon lies. Yeah, I saw the stuff. They are parading vans. He logs van, and he saw that guy standing. They have succeeded in selling Oji out, so they want to promote their own men. So they had to bring Oji down. And you say those kinds of people are looking for freedom for you? They are looking for their selfish and they want to be in control. If they want to actually get stuff, why didn't they layer suit? Why didn't they discuss extensively with Oji Innocent? Because the two of them, both Oji and them, they are not sincere to themselves. They are not sincere. Because if I am truly in Biafra and I want to get freedom, for God's sake, what stops me from working with if I have a clear conscience? It is only when I don't have a clear motive that I would not want to agree with another group that is claiming to be fighting for freedom. Because if that group is genuine, I'm genuine, naturally we will come together, even if we have different names, but we will come together. Look at it now in Israel. They formed the unity government. They just agreed to form the unity government. And the opposition leader, who is a general, of course, also agreed, a former general in the military. Agreed yesterday, they accepted. And now, quickly, they are forming that unity government, especially in the area of military. Because you know why? The mandate is more important than our differences. When the mandate is superior over every of our differences, we naturally agree. At least we agree to the unity government now will come together and they would fight and get victory they'll get victory for Israel. And then after that, they'll go back and start doing the opposition. That's how it is. So if your mandate is truly Biafra and mine is truly Biafra, why are you scared of joining forces with me? Because your motive is not clear. That's what it is. If Simon's motive was clear, why was he quick to rush to the media to call us criminals? And when we were calling the men he should be working with together for him to speak and have a meeting with them. Why? Because his motive is not clear. Those ones have not been agreeing with him based on his selfish motive. So he doesn't want to hold meetings with them. He didn't want to have anything to do with them. And these are ESN men who believe in Masin and Bikanu. But because they are not saying yes sir to him and they are refusing to go and swear oath or take an oath with Botuzo and all of that, he refused to have a meeting with them. So rather, what he needed to do was to come on social media to try to blackmail the people who are trying to bring things together. I work with anybody as long as they have sincere motive. We might not have agree, But as long as that motive is Biafra and it is sincere, we will work together. We work together. That is why I've had meetings with several people who say they want to do this, they want to do that, and they want to do this. Once I see that your motive is not clear from the way you're operating, I withdraw. I tell you it's to your face there, and I withdraw. That's what I've been doing. But I don't come here to tell you how many people have. I want to work with anybody as long as you are genuine. You must not be under Eastern Sunrise Group or Accountability and Transparency Group. You must not have the name or come under Accountability and Transparency Group. You can have your own group, but one, Mike, naturally we are going to work together. Naturally, because the motive is paramount. One formidable reason, one formidable focus: Biafra freedom. So, in spite of how I think, in spite of who I am, we would always come together. I wouldn't think of bringing you down so that my group will stand out. No, because it is not about my group. It is not about your group. It is us collectively. That is sincere people. Don't fall into the hands of desperate people. Check their actions. Their actions sell them. Their actions show being so daft, and you have to understand. You have to understand this. You have to understand it. Now let me take back a bit to what Mazinam kind of said. Let me see if I can play something out of it so that for just 1 minute, and so you can hear some.
Office holders to account, they will become more incisive, they will become more investigative, they will become more assertive. Just for the truth.
I don't know whether you heard that very clearly. Mazin Amikano was talking about if you hold office holders to account, holding them to account. I'm going to play it again because I want you to, I will take it backwards a little so that you can be able to listen to it to an extent and then get the message better, because you need to understand this.
You will eventually speak the truth. We will force journalism in the zoo to change. To be truthful and bold. The same way, by the time we finish, no idiot can open your mouth and say I'm from Niger Delta, because the name doesn't exist. We are winning on that one already. People are coming to their senses now. No more Niger Delta. People are telling us where they come from. That is better. By the time we finish with the vagabonds called journalists in the zoo, they will begin to report the truth. They will begin to hold office holders to account. They will become more incisive. They will become more investigative. They will become more assertive. They will push for the truth.
What Mazin Amikano is saying here is that once people are on the path of truth, they will become very investigative. They will become more incisive. They will become more desperate for things to be done right. That was what he was saying. That means once you are on the path of truth, naturally, you want things to be done well, no matter who is involved. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying here. Now, if you permit yourself to be put under people, you just want to get freedom. All you need is freedom. You don't care how it comes. You are going to be in more trouble. It will cause implosion. Thank you so much, Yamisi. Thank you so much. He said, Daniel says, I need to investigate some of Juju. Madam Sabi, I don't know how Juju they catch people. It's because if you are genuine, Juju no go catch you, honestly. Because you just have this spirit of truth in you. Spirit of truth. When people are on the path of truth, they naturally don't joke with transparency, accountability, and they make sure that everybody is under the oath of transparency and accountability. That means, what that means is that, I'm not saying going to carry oath. When you say oath of, doesn't mean you go and swear oath. Simply means that it becomes a culture and tradition. It becomes a system. It becomes a style. You just become transparent and you ask for account. You naturally would ask for things to be done right. When you are in that position, you want to give account. You think I'll be in charge of, for instance, be the head of finance. Of course, when being the head of finance, for instance, I'm giving an example now. If I'm the head of finance and people are working, I have that department, people are working under me. I am the one who will be publishing every time, every month, and they meet the financial report. People, I must make sure that the people working with me put together the reports. That is being accountable. That is being transparent. That is a proof of sincerity and genuineness. You don't embark on something as important to the lives of the people as their freedom, and you treat it with levity, and you treat it anyhow. You just treat it with disdain. You don't try that. You don't try that. So, I want to let you guys know this. Desperation. Don't allow people who are desperate. Look at their programs. Look at their activities. Look at their ways. Thank you, Amaka. Yes, well done. No going back. Yes, we are not going back. We can go back. We are resolute. And we are resolute on the truth. Everyone who have come to Biafra project for their selfish motive, they would not succeed. They will not make it. The monies they steal, they will lose it. And in the end, their family and their generation will be cursed, because you are delaying the destinies of people. You are making people struggle. You are making people suffer. Mazen Namikano said it in this particular publication. He said that the reason why people suffer is because they don't say the truth. Look at what is happening. Criminality everywhere. Somebody steals. The next thing you hear is that they are sacking the person or something. The person goes, and the person goes with the money. Everything goes. Somebody else enters. That person comes now, begin to steal, because they know that they will always get away with it. They always believe they will get away with it. When are we going to learn our lessons? When? When are we going to learn our lessons? You must not come under accountability and transparency group, but you can partner with us to do what we are doing. If you want to be part of accountability and transparency group, you come under it. If you want to stay away and have your own group, if you want to open your own group, have your own group and come and partner with us. The only thing that brings us together is the gospel of truth, as long as we are on the same path. Chukwu said, I let Ibrahim when he said he knew the date that all will come and all of that. He thought he was playing, he was gambling. He thought that when he said no election in Biafra land and said he has put everything in place, he knew he had not put everything in place. He knows he had not done that. But he thought that people would just naturally stay away and not come out for election. He thought the people would carry out the action. Then he will now take glory for it. That was the plan for himself. They thought that. So what they did was stealing the monies and making you believe that they have gotten enough weapons, thinking that Biafrans will naturally stay away from the election because they are angry about Mazen Namikano. That's what he thought. He thought that people are so angry about Mazen Namikano that naturally they would want to stay away from the election. So when he was telling you he was buying weapons, he was only making you believe that the monies you're contributing, he's using it for what he told you he was going to use it for. But they were investing it in their private businesses and giving stipends to the guys they have contracted to be on their side, which they took from the ESN camp. The few guys, giving them stipends and equipping them for themselves. But they were not getting the weapons as they were talking and all the bragados on social media. They were not doing it that way. They thought that because people are angry and people, because of the notion of Mazen Namikano, people will not come out to vote. That was how they thought it. They thought about it. That was what they thought. Thinking that it will naturally work for them. Just like when they come out now, after the election, they were also predicting that from now, they're going to start doing some stuff. After the election, did you notice it? They thought that, in fact, he extended the date of the 150 to 1 week after the election. So that within that period, when crisis now come, because they would naturally will know Peter Obi will not win. Everybody know that. So he felt that people will revolt and all of that. So within that 1 week, when people revolt, he will now say it is his 150 days, his count, that he now has prompted his men to come out to revolt. He will now take glory on that revolting. That's the plan. When it didn't work out, now he now became very serious, now trying to gather people, for his trying to create his own militia so that they'll begin to do the kind of activities other people have been doing, like Innocent and Co have been doing, BNL have been doing, and all of that. That's just it. And make noise and go here and do this and go here and do that and keep getting you busy and you thinking that they're working and all of that. That's the calculation. People should understand this. The biggest disappointment for him was after he has stolen the monies and the resources of Biafra, yet Biafrans came out to vote. People made sure that they voted. That was the pain in his heart, because that exposed him. That exposed that he didn't have a plan of no election. He thought the people would naturally stay away. So that was when he now started the narrative of deception and manipulation. Deception. He would talk about Biafra government in exile. Now started coming out strongly on that one and tell you he has gotten a place, and then tell you this and start deceiving you and distracting you. Distractions. That was when distractions began strongly. So if you want to know what happened about the issue of I know when Biafra will come, it was because he thought people would not vote, and when they don't vote that period. Even if they vote, Peter Obi will not win, and when Peter Obi don't win, people will come out to the street and fight and all of that, and that will mark the end of Nigeria. If you remember, when he was talking about he knows when Biafra will end, he was actually referring to the no election period. Check it out. Just go to his broadcast and listen extensively. You will discover. In fact, it was around December, January, he started narrowing it down to the period of the election, because he just thought by his calculation, he is trying to be smart. He just thought by his calculation that that period will be disastrous. Once Peter Obi does not win, there will be fights. Let's just assume people come out to vote. He was assuming if people come out to vote, Peter Obi will still not win. And once Peter Obi doesn't win, his people are already, because they have been having meetings that they have enough weapons that once Peter Obi does not win, they are going to burn down Nigeria. Peter Obi's campaign people have been saying that. They have been saying that. There was a time they had they had so many Twitter space meeting, and in one of the meetings, Simon even published it, that they are planning, and they have weapons and all of that to make sure that once Peter Obi doesn't win, they will come out and destroy everything and come out seriously to riot. So he was capitalizing on that. Thank God, this one's don't buy weapons. So me, I no go buy weapons. Or they steal the money. I'll tell Biafrans I'm buying weapons. So any weapon you see on that day, you will believe it is Simon. You see, the deception is so much. So much. The deception is so much. But you must be wise. You must be wise. I want to appreciate you guys. Tomorrow or Saturday, I'll be here again, and we shall talk deeper. We are going to be going deeper into this fact. You must understand this. I'm taking my time to explain these things so that you will understand. And these things are on record. So that tomorrow, know that, and will be done, in the way they should be done. I appreciate you guys strongly, and I thank God that we still have people and rethinking along the lines, reading in between lines, and standing on the path of truth. Because of us, Chukwuki will make us get freedom. And Mazin Amkano is coming out very better. And as soon as he's out, we shall Mazin Amkano is coming out. Just watch. And once he comes out, to be easier this time around. And we moved him. Took a mantle and will now create a formidable force that is Republican in nature, the Republican force, because that takes us to the next season. Now we're in the season of mafioso, the mafioso season of mafia groups, different groups. That's the season. This thing goes from season to season based on the situation. And the reason why this season is so hard on us is because we have allowed saboteurs to thrive for a long time. And we didn't have this culture, of impacting our values in people and our children. So our children grow up to be so-called liberal in their approach. Even cultural things are not taken seriously. But go to Israel today. You don't joke with their culture and tradition. You don't joke with who they are. They are their tradition and culture. An average Israeli is an epitome or a summary or a total summation of whom they are. You see it reflect on an average Israeli. That is the mistake we made, and we must start impacting these things in us now, so that we will take our nation as important as anything, more important than anything to us. Because as much as it is important to us, it gives us value as a people, and that's it. Thank you all. I appreciate you guys. Please like this video if you have not liked it yet. Like it and share it on all your social media platforms. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, subscribe, and let's keep growing and improving. Twitter is improving on Twitter or X. We need to extend and expand this platform to go far and wide, so that people can get the gospel of freedom at all times. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much all. In spite of the fact that I've been so tired because I've been working since morning, and I thought I didn't know I was going to get some energy to do this broadcast tonight. But Chukwuki guys and strengthened me and imparted me with knowledge to be able to do it. And I want to thank you guys who are always here and you have given your time to be in it. And of course, my name is Kelechi Ambrose. This is Biafra Global Network. And again, I'm going to publish the number. You can send a message if you want to join the accountability and transparency group. Send us a message, and then we'll call you, we'll discuss with you, and we'll take it up from there. And when we work together, it is our responsibility to give our service to our nation collectively, not selfish ends, not wanting to have everything to ourselves. No, but collective approach where nobody is controlling the affairs, but everybody is controlling the affairs of what concerns us all, where no one person takes the glory or thinks that he or she is in charge. Mazen Amdekan is the leader, but we all work together to give meaning to his leadership. And that is what we want to do. And that is this dispensation we're entering into from this mafioso season. We are entering into the dispensation of Republican approach to things, where we would work with Mazen Amdekan together, and decisions will be made by the people, for the people, and with the people. Thank you all. I appreciate you. We're going to get there. We're going to get there strongly. And of course, it's going to get better. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Take the number and make the call, send the message. Because if you make a call, it won't go through. So just send a message, and then we can now talk from there. It is very, very important we take this seriously. I want to appreciate you guys. I love you guys so much from my heart. And I know that Chukwuki is using his words to inform you, using his words as they come to bring to your mind the things you need to remember. And thank you so much all. I appreciate you guys. God bless you real good. Enjoy the rest of your